Welcome back to One More K, the episode number 61, I believe. We're going, we're growing, we're going. We are in ultra running territory now in terms of kilometers, definitely in terms of miles. Welcome back to the show. It is Friday evening here in California, America, and it is Saturday morning in Bali. Welcome back to the show. Good morning, Ned.
A very good morning. Two things. One very silly. We're on episode 61. Does it mean anything to you that in 6 episodes we'll be on episode 67? Does that mean anything to you?
I only know the term 6-7 these days, where the Gen
Exactly.
Alpha.
Exactly.
Okay, okay.
Exactly. So, so,
I
so
passed the test.
you pass the test. So when we get to episode 67, if it's still a thing, we can do that. And also this morning, and it's the subject of the drop, I've just gone out and run 40K because, I have like goals to do. And I ran there's lots of Bali stuff. And there was a shop, it's called Balifornia. So Balifornia. So you're in
Oh,
California and I'm in Balifornia. It doesn't really go. Like the words look nice, but there's pronunciation because it's not California, Balifornia, but it was a shop with the California, Balifornia kind of
right.
idea.
So I just hit the record button when you were about to talk to me about the agenda. And then you stopped. So, because we're about to record, why don't you tell me and the audience what's on the docket today?
It's because I had, I ran 40 and was listening to a bunch of pods and all of that. A couple of them were about the topics and in ultra and so to be clear, not plagiarism but inspiration. Dylan Bowman was talking to Tim Tollefson about a couple of subjects, one which was drugs in the sport, and interestingly, so today we're going to talk about drugs in the sport. We're going to talk about, let me get it in front of me, the rise of 200s and actually, are they actually rising or not? And maybe it's just a little bit of it. Shoe brands becoming like F1 teams. So are we going down the path of teams? So, these teams have chalets in UTMB and they do all of the pit stops and all of that. And also predictions from a business perspective. So I was inspired by listening to some of the behind the scenes inspiration of the sport from Dylan Bowman's Rest Day podcast. So
All
that's what
right.
we
That's
that's what
exciting.
we have. Yes.
It seems like my Friday night is going to be exciting now. I was thinking, oh my God, it's going to be a boring Friday night. As
Not
a
at all.
dad, you're like, oh, I go to bed
So,
and that's it. But no, no, no. I'm going to spend my Friday night with Ned talking about trail running. That's amazing.
so
All right,
actually
Ned,
it was
let's do it.
but actually just before we start, you came on and you had your new wonderful young baby there, your dog, and you were like, it's Friday night. Remember when you were young, Friday night was different. Now Friday night is completely different.
That's true. It has everything changed. Everything changed. It's very simple.
Everything changed. Okay, let's start with this, right? So this is kind of change of roles because normally Marcus has got the agenda, but okay, let's start with it. We'll start with drugs and the sport, and we're not going to solve this. I just want to talk about it because I don't know what I think. I know what I think, but I don't know what I think. If that makes sense. Question: are you going to TrailCon this year?
Yes. Yes.
Guess who's? Well, you're not going to guess. Okay, maybe you can guess if you not follow drugs in the sport, but if you have listened. Travis Tygart is going to be there.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
Wow,
That's a big
right.
deal. Yeah. I think I've seen the news actually somewhere. Yeah.
I mean, Travis Tygart is he was the guy that went after Lance back in the day, right? He was Lance's nemesis. Lance kept calling him out as the demon. Obviously, it turned out that seems he was right. And I wrote, so I used to be a big Lance fan. I was like, oh, Travis sucks. Travis has got a vendetta. I was like, oh, wow, Travis was just following the facts and stuff. And he's subsequently he's also gone through UFC. So he's been to UFC. He's obviously been to cycling. He's been to athletics. Interesting that he's coming a trail, and Debo and Tim Tollefson were trying to break down not too much about it, what they feel, because one lady called Shelby Hutchinson or Shelby something, who took a 4-year ban in athletics, has now come to trail. And what does that mean? So I don't have an exact topic I want to talk about, but maybe it's a simple question. Do you think drugs are coming to trail? And I know it's hard for us to know, but do you get a sense that it's becoming an issue?
Yeah, I do think that even at the latest UTMB, right, there was like this hiccup, and Yao Mao came first, and there were some
Oh,
issues.
yeah.
So I think it definitely comes to this sport. Money makes it attracts bad people. Yeah, that's I think so. First and foremost, yes, it's happening. Is it going to happen more? Yes, for sure. I think on the amateur level, it's happening probably much more than we think it is already.
Do
Because people, I
you
think
think
so. Yeah,
you
yeah,
think I'm always
yeah,
blown away by this. You
yeah.
think amateurs are into it?
I mean, and then there's a kind of the next conversation we should have. What is drugs? What is doping? Right? Like, where do you start? Where do you end? Is caffeine and so on and so on. Um, what kind of steroids? What kind of inhalers? What kind of now medical supplies do you use, which maybe are subscribed to you by your doctor, but they end up being a drug? Who knows these days, right? I think it's just about setting the playing field right, making it fair for everyone. I do follow, we talked about this before, Christian Angermayer, the German investor who teamed up with Peter Thiel and Balaji, the Silicon Valley tech crypto crowd, to launch Enhanced Games. And I follow that quite a bit. They're really coming together now. And I quite like it. I quite like that they are doing the opposite and saying we're going all in doping, we're doing all in enhanced, we're doing all in expanding humanity's ideas and possibilities. But again, it has to be fair. Everyone should do it. In that case, anyone should do it. Would I love to see a super drugged up trail run? 100%. I think it would be very interesting to see what's possible. Just, but anyone should basically say these are the rules. This is what should be possible. You can use these, I don't know, 10, 20, 30, 100, whatever drugs and go crazy. Good luck. I would be interested in this. This just comes back to also then the whole shoe conversation, where I'm also seeing how shoe brands are developing devices now that I would call are moving more into humanoid territory, right? With added, not just any more carbon plates, but other other mechanics in it. Where would this go? So I'm also have no issue with this, but it needs to be just like with any kind of like Formula One you mentioned before. Like, it needs to be within a framework and say we agree with this, and we can fine tune here and there, and then to see who's the best driver and the best car, right? And I think with running will be the same. Who's going to be the best runner with XYZ shoe, XYZ gear, maybe other little tweaks here and there, for sure, because money makes all this very interesting. So very, very long answer to the question. We can dissect it here and there, but in general, yes, it's happening. Should it happen more? I think it should happen more if it's all agreed on, because I'm curious about where it could go.
I forgot that you vaguely knew or you had some connection to the guy from the
Yeah,
Enhanced Games.
yeah.
Question: when you say the Enhanced Games are coming together, is the first one scheduled already?
Not yet, no, not yet. But I see more and more athletes who are signing up to it. It's a bit like tennis players are retiring in pickleball, or European football players retire in American football leagues or soccer leagues. Is it people who have done it, Olympians who say, okay, cool, I'm going to join this now because I'm older. I'm probably also using some kind of steroids anyway. So why don't I just kind of try again? And they're getting paid a lot of money by it. So it's a money game. But yeah, I mean, for me, and now a very different conversation, but what brings us closer to living and surviving on Mars, right? And whether it's with nutrition, I mean, I always call joking about Lecker. We will get in some point into Mars type space food. That's where we have to go. Same with your human race. Like, what can we do to our bodies to survive this super long journey to Mars? And that's where those kind of substances come in. Yeah.
So, I mean, wow. I mean, this topic has taken a different turn, but it's great. It's fantastic. Do you follow Brian Johnson?
100%.
Okay.
I follow him, and even now my wife follows him because he's been writing all these very insightful posts about him and his body and relationship with his girlfriend, I believe.
Yeah.
Super interesting. So now it's a topic on our dinner table. Yeah.
So the reason, again, so podcasts are consumed while I run. Obviously, I run quite a bit.
Just for everyone. So Brian Johnson used to be the founder of Braintree, a tech CEO here in Silicon Valley. He sold it for $700 million. Very famous. He's now the guy who's trying out anything biomarker, anything longevity. He's probably putting $1 million a year into his body, and documents it all over the place.
So absolutely, you know, if you're interested in him, there's a Netflix documentary called "Don't Die." So he is, as you say, he had a couple of statements. Every calorie needs to earn a right to go in your body. So that was one of his statements. There has to be a right for it. So obviously, he doesn't eat any of the crap food. He has a huge amount of supplements. He has the money, obviously, right? But did you hear that he is actually in his statement? Again, everyone can go and check it. He has reversed his age. He doesn't see any reason why he should die. Like, he's going to live forever in his perception. Is that the understanding?
I think 150, 160 years old. That's kind of where he is right now. He is 23 years old, but he is 40 something, 45. I don't know, but he's biologically only 23, so he halved his age. Because he basically, I mean, dying basically means you have bad cell growth. And so he reversed the bad cell growth into replenishing his cell growth into much more newer cells and getting rid of the old cells. Yeah.
So this is much more interesting than just drugs in the sport. Do you think doing what Brian Johnson does would be good for training?
For training for trail running?
Yes.
I'm 100% sure that some parts of it are super beneficial for what we're talking about in our sports. Yeah, I do think certain parts of diet, certain parts of fasting, certain parts of hydration. I mean, he's doing so much. I mean, it's a long list of things he's doing, but I'm sure there's some part of it that is definitely beneficial. I mean, anything that is part of the human's progress of knowledge will be beneficial to it somewhere. I believe that.
Is he taking, and again, I mean, we don't need to just dissect it. What I'm interested in, as you say, as long as the rules are the rules are there are certain drugs you can't take, you know, EPO, steroids, is not that Brian Johnson is an athlete and he needs to care. Is he taking that stuff as well from your understanding? Or is he taking more natural? I don't know what the right
No, he's. I mean, I think he's on the wide spectrum. I've been not following him that long, so I also don't really know, to be honest with you, and I can't claim I'm a super Brian Johnson expert. What he was just recently being famous for was that he live streamed his magic mushroom experience.
That's right.
And that was fascinating to watch. He did a guided, basically, mushroom experience. And you had many other top-notch people, like the Salesforce CEO, some of the All-In podcast guys, live streaming in as well, commenting on all of this. Balaji, of course. And so that he documented that very well. I think that was cool. So I think he definitely, given that he's experimenting with the edge substances. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, this conversation has taken a wild turn. Did you see? So 2 comments on his mushroom experience, because he actually said that he thinks it's been incredibly beneficial to him in his perception and his understanding of himself. The second part is, did you see there was a guy who ran 500 miles on mushrooms? So there was a guy who, on Insta, but separately, there's a film called Jacob's Ladder, which documents the rumored use of mushrooms and LSD on the American military in Vietnam because they were losing the war. So they gave them these to test them out. The reason I know this is getting off track from trail running, I want, is it a performance enhancer? Is taking mushrooms during a race, not that I'm going to do it, but surely some people, is that a banned substance as well?
I mean, you do know the story about the Germans invading France, Second World War, right?
No.
So you know that Germany invaded France in Second World War within a few days. Yeah.
I know.
But you know why? They were all on amphetamines. They were all high on ecstasy.
Really?
Yeah. You can look into it. I mean, Hitler was. This is really now very off topic. Sorry, people, for listening to this, but I think we'll get the corner soon. But Hitler himself was high on drugs, and there's a documentary out there about Hitler's drugs for the soldiers. The French were so surprised why the Germans didn't sleep. They didn't sleep for 3-4 days straight, and they were just running through the French forces because they were high on ecstasy and other amphetamines.
Wow.
So that is, I mean, yeah. Back to trail running, I think that or endurance sports, yeah, again, like what is possible with, if you allow, and this is of course within health guidelines, and we don't want to give the wrong advice here, so please do your own research, but what is possible within the human realm if you unlock the other 80% of your brain you're not using, because we're only using 24% of the brain or something. And DeWalter and Walmsley, I mean, they're doing crazy things, and it's amazing. We're coming to 200 miles in a minute, but what's possible? What is possible? I mean, I'm talking maybe a few months. I don't want to inspire anyone to kill themselves, but like that's where the enhanced gains come in. Maybe we should pitch it to Christian and say, hey, Christian, how about looking into the running part there?
It's a really, I mean, okay, maybe we can put a pin in it for a little bit, because otherwise we're going to go, but we could do a whole topic on this and maybe get Christian on, because it just made me think most drug use in sport is considered physical, right? So you take steroids, EPO to boost. But in reality, if you're doing a 200-mile race, I can only imagine that maybe an amphetamine or a mushroom is going to help you way more, right?
I think that's a very good point, because most of it is strength, right? Is you cycle up the hill faster, you can pull this weight up higher, blah blah. You can jump further, but yeah, with our sport, it is at some point coming to the mental part, right? And what can you unlock? I would love to see a study, and again, I'm happy to declare I took mushroom myself, and I do think it helps my mental strength tremendously. It was a long time ago. I'm not sure I would have been able to do my races without it. So could there be a study to say, can there be before, after? People who have gone through certain psychedelic experiences that would give them more mental strength to last longer in races? Question mark. So, I don't know.
I know you've done Vipassana, and if you would be okay to take a minute to tell people what Vipassana is. And while we haven't talked deeply about it, we've talked a little bit, but you've always been very clear. It's been incredibly beneficial.
Vipassana is, in technical speech, is a breathing technique that was developed in ancient India, and then the Gautama Buddha has, after trying out many different techniques, decided this is the one that helped him to reach nirvana, to help him to reach enlightenment. And you, in the Vipassana course, you have the opportunity to learn this technique. It's basically like a training camp of 10 days. You are in a secluded area, in a locked-in area, to basically practice every day from 4:30 a.m. to 9 p.m., 10.5 hours meditation, no speaking, no engagement, no books, nothing, just no stimulation. Just you sitting from 1 hour to 2.5 hours each session, over 10.5 hours and the whole day, with two foods only, one breakfast and two meals, one breakfast and one lunch. And you basically just breathe, right? And then through the breathing, then there's more things happening in your body. You synchronize your mind, synchronize your body. You unleash a lot of deep-rooted things inside you. I mean, there's a lot of it that can be talked about, but this is a very brief experience, brief explanation of my experience. But I did it twice, 2018 and last year, 2020. Sorry, two years ago, 2024, and it is. I would compare it. It's a similar experience to a psychedelic experience. Psychedelic is a catalyst. It's like a 5-hour, 6-hour trip. It's more uncontrolled, I think, unless it's guided. But Vipassana is more controlled and it's longer, right? It's 10 days. But I do think that in your brain, you basically are achieving similar outcomes. Like you're creating new synapses, you're creating new structures, and that essentially builds mental strength, I think.
It's very cool, man. Like, it's very, very cool that you did it. It's, we talk about ultra a lot, and, that is an ultra experience, clearly, even though you're not moving.
Yeah.
Just like when you described to me, you have to sit in the same place. If you remember, we were driving back up from Backyard to Nashville, and you were describing to me like the muscle pain you can get from not moving.
Yeah, correct, because what happens if you sit, you can't do anything, and you let the body do its thing, and the mind, and then you realize how pains inside you, whether it's your lower back or your shoulders or your neck or the headache or the migraine, whatever you have nigging here and there, are all connected to your mind. And then the mind starts to rest and all these things come up. In my case, I have a bit of a lower back pain and shoulder pain. Shoulder is connected to work, lower back pain is connected to family stuff. And yeah, it's once the mind rests and you let the mind go to those places, and what comes out is a lot, right? So anyone that has pain out there, I'm like, yeah, there's some kind of mental framework, something mentally stuck inside you that is manifesting itself in physical pain. But you can unlock it if you enter your mind and go there. Yeah, I've never had so much pain in my life. I never had so much pain in life. But then the good thing is you're getting into this deeper level on literally cell level, and you are unlocking this pain. You are like getting it out, right? It's like this. I mean, there's massage in a way, but it's you're massaging your own mind and hence massaging your own body.
It's really cool, man. Like I love it. It's maybe a natural stimulant, but it takes a lot of commitment to do it. Vipassana is not easy, right?
It's not easy. I think it's besides becoming a dad and having sleepless nights, this was the toughest thing I had in my life. and backyard ultra crewing was also very tough.
And actually, to move on to the next topic, it just made me laugh. You were very kind at backyard to take a lot of different photos. There's one photo talking about drugs, not that I took drugs, but you know that photo you have of me with my eyes wide open when I was taking the caffeine pills, right? Like those. I mean, that's a stimulant. Like that's a stimulant.
It works.
And I had taken 5 or 6 of them, and you took this photo of my eyes are like
it was
super wild.
Very wired. All right, 200 milers. What's going on?
So everyone says that 200 milers are the thing, and everyone's talking about them, and everyone's doing it. I know you like numbers. The numbers of races don't support it, but the numbers of social media interaction support it. So here's a wild fact. Of the top 10 live streamed number of viewers live streamed in America, so watching trail races, ultra trail live streamed on YouTube, number 4 was a 200 meter, Tim Tollefson's mammoth one. And I don't know if it was number 2 or 3, but Cocodona was either number 2 or 3.
Yeah, I thought so.
In a world where we want short attention reels, people are watching 200-mile races. There's this, yet only a few thousand people have done 200-mile races, but the coverage suggests it's like the new 100. But the numbers don't collide just because there's not many people who want to do 200. I suppose what the message is that everyone thinks 200 is the new 100, and it may be, but the number of people are not doing. But the social media coverage numbers are amazing.
Yeah. But see, this is interesting, right? And because when you said it, it clicked to me. You know, we're living in a world of abundance of so many things. Scarcity is quality time, right? And I put the emphasis on quality time. Isn't it very common that you watch Netflix, but also are on Facebook, Instagram at the same time, or probably also writing something on an email on your laptop?
Sure.
Yeah, so I can see how you might watch a 200-miler Cocodona, but are you actually watching? Are you actually spending quality time on that? And are you not writing an email or having lunch with your wife or driving in the car? I don't know, right? So I think that's where maybe the numbers mismatch comes from, because yeah, it's super easy to have just your laptop open. You probably have anyway 3 or 4 screens in your house, and you just stream it and you look in and out. But does it actually mean I would do a survey afterwards, and how much have you actually watched it? What have you remembered of it? You know, so that's my comment on this.
Absolutely. Look, the numbers are there. And it's interesting. They didn't go through all the top 10 live stream. I know Backyard had over 1 million views, but no one's watching it, right? It's just coming and going.
Yeah.
Maybe separately from the number of views. Can you tell from Lekker, do you have 200-mile people buying Lekker, or do you know who's buying it from the broken down by the races they run in any way?
It's less than 5%, 1% maybe. Yeah. Like very little number, because just judging by, I'm judging this is judged based on social media engagement. So seeing, I mean, I'm very engaged on social media from Lekker, and I can see who tags us, posts about us, what kind of training they do, what kind of race they do. And it's not many at all, like not many at all. But also I have to admit that on Lecca's front, we're not the most ultra focused brand, so we're better placed. Our ingredients and our functionality is better for shorter distances. However, having said this, it's going to be interesting now for anyone out there. We're launching our ultra gel very soon. I'm going to be very curious to see bigger, more carbs, more sodium, blah blah blah. You can see it online in 1 or 2 months. The How many will then use it for extra ultra, or will they just use it for their 21K and it's cool to use ultra gel? Right? I don't know. So let's see how that play out. I'm very curious about this. I want to test the market a bit more. But yeah, I'm not doing the ultra gel. I can tell from a business point of view, I'm not doing it for the ultra people. I'm doing it for the 42, 50K people. They're demanding it. They want it. I'm not doing it for the 200-mile people. No.
Wow, it's super interesting.
Yeah.
Like it's an ultra gel. This high carb thing has come in, and actually, I don't know if I think I mentioned to you, I also consuming too much, ultra running podcast. Listen to, we talked about him, the Dutch scientist from Never Second. What's his name? It has gone for a minute. The super
Co-founder.
famous dude.
Yeah.
Co-founder of Never Second, who is a very well-known. Interestingly,
Lauren Armstrong and Asker Jukendrup.
Asker Jukendrup. What he says is 90 grams is the most your body can absorb anyway, right? So these 120, 150 is super rare. But I remember when I started running and I went up to 10K and I saw a gel that was for a marathon. And just in my beginner brain, I was like, oh, I'm going to get a marathon gel. It's going to make me better at 10K. And you're right. The newbies coming up from 40K to 50K, they probably want a 100-mile gel because they think it's better, right?
Correct. Yeah. But from engagement on Instagram and so on, we do have some 100-mile, 200-mile people. They are a very unique kind. They have usually, if you do 200 miles, you have dialed in your nutrition. Sure. You're not doing 100, 200 miles tomorrow. It's not something that you do out of nowhere. You have done 3, 4, 5 years of running. And by then, I hope and I assume that you know your stuff. So, and again, you know it yourself, but only after 10 hours, you can't anymore consume that many sweet things. So you have a very vast, diverse mix of nutrition coming into you. Right?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I think I tried to work out. I think I took 53 Lecca gels. So I don't know if that's still a record. I'm hoping that to
you
go
still
further
hope
on
there
that.
is. You do. Yeah.
But I think the point is just that these 200-mile races are doing incredibly well from a social media point of view, and it's the rise of 200. And interestingly, I don't know if you saw. Do you know what the Burrito League is?
Yeah, I've seen this with Jamil.
Okay. Yeah. So some things have small number of runners, huge impact. Now, the Burrito League for everyone out there is last year Chipotle in, I think it was where Jamil lives. I think it's Austin. And Jamil Curry, everybody for Arrow Viper Running, said whoever runs the most segment, it was like a 0.2 mile or 0.3 mile in front of a Chipotle, in a month of January would get free Chipotle for a year. And basically, a few people went out, and Jamil and one other dude absolutely went at it. I think they went over 1,000K. I think they went like over 1,000K for the month. Like it was monstrous. This year it comes back, and Chipotle are not doing it. So he started his own thing, and it gets a lot of coverage. But how many, so in different cities around the world, like in Washington and everything, it's interesting. Not many people are doing it, but it gets a lot of coverage.
Yeah. But also, I think the echo chamber is very loud, right? It's just the echo chamber that is just incredible these days in anything in life, and also in trail running. Yeah.
I must admit, though, obviously I have other things to do in my life, but if I had nothing to do, would I go to an American city, stay in a motel right by a Chipotle section for a month and win it? Yes, I would love to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds like so fun. All right, next topic, because we have 20 minutes. Right. Okay, next topic. Oh, I like this one, actually, because it's business. In Trail Runner of the Year and Shoe Brands of the Year, Dylan Bowman and his team, Free Trail, put together Shoe Team of the Year. Hoka won, On were second, Asics were third, Brooks were fourth. And it's done by the points from the team members who win. So if you like Tom Evans won UTMB, he's in Asics, they get so many points, right? Obviously, Hoka's got some absolute superstars. And it was a discussion around, is teams good for the sport, right? And I thought it was a bit of a gimmicky thing. And then, do you follow cross country, like the Division One, like American cross
Yeah, a tiny
country,
bit here and there. I see it
college?
on my social media. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
college cross country, like the scores of the teams, right? Like number one is gets this many points. And the more I listened, I actually think this could be a really good thing. These teams, they stay together in chalets. They have their own pit stops, like, same like
Yeah,
F1. If you're coming in a Hoka,
yeah.
it's got a pit stop. It's got the fuel. It's got everything. So, simple question. Do you think teams in ultra and trail is a good thing?
100%. Just listening to Rod last week, right? He's part of the Hoka team as a very junior athlete, and he said it's fantastic to be in a team and to travel to places and have your camaraderie there. I can only see it being a good thing for the runner who seeks to be also social. I think who seeks to have a global connection, who seeks to go to a new place in new country and then have already a team there. It's different than if you go there alone. I Sure. Does it create a more cult-like feeling? Yeah, that's how humans are also built to stick together. Does it make it difficult for other people to join it? Yes. Exclusivity creates higher barriers. You have to be better. It creates more competition. It's probably lifts everything up. The money comes in. It's good for storytelling. Yeah, I think it's a good thing.
And do you think a independent athlete can still make it?
Yeah, I think so. I think that you. Okay, now because you mentioned earlier Formula One, I'm thinking about Formula One now. Um, it's possible with social media and the levels of, like, the degree of, the quantity of races is so high, you can do anything, you can create a good story. Where Formula One is different, Formula One is very exclusive. You only have your 18, 20 teams, and you need to have money, you have to buy in basically. So if there is a race series where they only allow teams, and if there's a format that has the highest viewership and they only allow teams, yeah, then of course it excludes any individual runner. That is a tough one, right? But as long as you can join a race without a team, you can be independent, you can do what you want to, for sure. I think anyone can do it. But yeah, again, if there's a Formula One Thai racing series coming up that only has teams, yeah, that would basically exclude all the individuals that are self-sponsored. Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. They interviewed Will Murray, who won Javelina, and he was kind of just joined Brooks. He also said he didn't do the internet, so he didn't have a social media presence at all. And they were like, "Wait, does this work?" And he said, "It works intrinsically for me." And it was really interesting. Then he got picked up by Brooks. He won Javelina. He did his thing, but he's also, if you don't have a team and you don't have the internet, can you make? And you ready? He wasn't wearing super shoes, so no super shoes, no internet, no team, and he wins Javelina, breaks the course record by half an hour, beats David Roche. If you got that much talent, what if you got talent just beneath that? Yeah, you're right. This idea that the shoe brands could dominate.
I think one step back and reflecting a bit on last week's call and episode with Rod. It's and I know Rod a bit better because we've been working with him for 2 years, and to all his greatness, he's really trying hard. But there's also a new generation where we heard him saying that he was in different sports, and then his dad and him decided to go into trail running. It is a bit like it's almost a family enterprise. And what would happen to the sport if this happens more and more? I don't think it's the case. I think it's a very unique story, and that's why I like him and his dad are great. But imagine, like, Michael Schumacher famously started kart racing when he was 4 years old because his dad had this go-kart race. And he actually comes from a very close town where I'm from in Germany. And I drive by that racetrack a lot. But so, or like, I mean, any tennis player we know these days has all the, like, the sisters, the Williams sisters. Yeah, I do think we'll see a new generation of, again, if there's money to be made, parents see it as an investment and say, hey, how can I get my kid into this? And how can I get a kid into a Hoka team or an Adidas team, and then build that journey? And that will come more. I think this is not the last time we see this happening.
Just a random, I think you're right. Just a random thing. I don't know if you saw that Molly Seidel came across to trail and won her first race outright. Molly Seidel, who won bronze in the Olympics in the marathon.
Yeah.
Came across. They were Dylan and Tim, who Tim don't know, are interested why she's come across in her prime, like Des Linden's come across, but and she's doing because she's finished her career. They were saying that Molly would get 6 figures appearance fees in a road marathon. She's not getting that at Javelina or Canyons or Backyard. Well, she's not coming to Backyard. Interesting.
But I think she's a great athlete. I mean, Courtney is also doing here the road marathon too. So I think people just like to switch things up a bit. I get it. If you are a true athlete, if you love running, you do love the sport, then you just do what you want to do, and kind of, I think it's fine. It's more begs the question, like what? Again, the question comes to what other talent is out there from other sports or from another generation that's come into the sport and will just smash it. Right? That will be interesting to see.
That makes sense. Okay. A business prediction for 2026. I have one, but if you'd like to go first, please go.
Go ahead.
The rise of the creator. I think results will matter less, and the rise of the content creator in trail will be a dominant feature from a business perspective in trail, that you can, if you are good, there's 2 parts. Can you win? Can you be podium? And can you create content? If you have both, you're going to smash it. So Hans Troyer wins JFK, 8th Western States, has a fantastic YouTube channel, just got signed to Hoka. So he has both. He has talent and content. Unbelievable. You know who Andrew Glaze is, I'm sure. So he doesn't make any money, but he gets 15 million views on a TikTok video. Crazy. I listened to him being interviewed. He doesn't win races. He's a mid to front packer. He's doing okay. But I think the rise of the content creators, and I think the spread of content, brands will be using trail. I think there will be this. I listened to a guy called Tommy Runs, who's like making a living. He's not, he can run 250 in a marathon, but he's not winning. I think that the dominant kind of money trail will be that the content storytellers are going to do just as well as the podium winners. And I think outside brands, airlines, hotels, cars, tech companies will use people from our sport as their role models. And the whole business will come out of that. And we'll see agents, maybe not in 2026, 27, but we will see agents for running influencers. I think that game is just at the beginning and getting bigger.
Thank you. I do think we talked about this late last year, right? Democratization of influencers and race results. Okay, so you basically say it's going to get people double down. It will just be bigger. Okay.
I do.
Yeah, I think and along those lines. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say people can genuinely make a living at it, even if they're not winning. It used to be you have to win to make a living. You don't have to win to make a living if you can do content, which is hard. Content's not easy. It's a lot of work, but you can make a living at it.
Okay. I'm on the spot here right now, so I'm going to just put my thoughts together while I speak. I'm taking a macroeconomic look at things. I do think that we see the economy, especially in America and other parts of the world, running very hot. So there's going to be a lot of money coming out of this. I do think interest rates are going lower. Liquidity is going to be higher. So yeah, it's kind of I'm sitting also next to your point. Or I mean, what I'm trying to say is that there's more money going to get involved. So people will splash the cash, whatever it takes. We see big deals. We see big sponsorships. We see big partnerships. We see prize money going through the roof. I think the money will flow easily until I think then the next year we see a major cut. I think it will just suddenly just implode. And I think at some point there will be a correction coming up. I don't think the correction is this year. I would have thought the correction comes this year. Last year I thought it would come this year. But looking at the numbers right now where things are going in the economy and stuff, I think the brands are making so much money and will have more debt piling together that it will be just big. But yeah, I will probably say for 2027 already, I will point out there will be correction coming up where we see sponsorships being slashed, we see teams being slashed. That's one prediction. And I think the second one, if I may, is also the continuous rise of Chinese money as well. I just having listened to Rod again last week and having more engagement now with Chinese people on the ground, seeing the numbers there. That economy will also run hot. And whether people are going into China more and more and come back and say, wow, this has been amazing, we want to go more to China because the experience is amazing, or Chinese brands and runners coming out of China even more with more money, sponsoring more things. So I think basically, yeah, the year of the money in that sense for me, not for me personally, but for the industry. Yeah.
I think your good point about you've been an investor, you've seen cyclical stuff,
Yeah.
right? Stuff
Yeah.
comes and goes, and you're right. I think in the 70s there was a running boom which stopped.
Yeah.
We're in a running boom. It will stop at some point. Like that's just how it is, right? Like it's these things are. And you're right. I think not just in running, but the way the world is now. China's this, the China decade or China century or Asia decade, Asia century growth. It's not that America will go away, but the rise of running in China and the rise of that, I think it's coming internationally.
But I think it's going to be a very positive year for the sport. I expect it to grow much more, and it's pretty exciting to see what's happening actually.
Fantastic. All right. Well, this has been slightly different because normally Marcus has the topics and introduces them. So now it is Ned to say it. By the way, we have some cool guests. One is a bit of a secret, very cool guest coming up. Actually, lots of cool guests. But for the next 3 weeks, we have guests. So we'll be back to that. Right now, I'm going to do my drop. And here it comes. So normally Marcus introduces my drop. I'm going to introduce myself. This part of the week, we have Ned's drop. Here it is. It's not that long. It's just some thoughts. I am... I just came back from a 40K run. I generally run 40K most weekends or a bit longer. And here's some thoughts on my last 2 runs. Let's do it. This one's called Flow or Not. Flow or Not. Last week, I ran for 5 hours. Was completely in flow. It felt like no effort at all. Seriously, I was floating, not running. It was just a training run, but one of those runs where it felt like it was super easy. I'm not entirely sure why. It just happened. Then today, 1 week later, same time of the morning, I set off for my 40K training run. Legs were heavy, palms were sweaty, mum's spaghetti. Not sure why, but it actually turned into an even better run because I had to super focus to make it happen. It wasn't that I had a temptation to stop. It was just a temptation to let myself off. To not focus, because last week I didn't need any focus. I just did it. But today, not so much. And I realized as I was coming towards the end of the run today, feeling super proud of myself for not taking a step back from this run, for absorbing it all, for staying in the moment and not letting my brain run that this wasn't a good run, is that this was the most important run of the 2. Sure. The flow run was amazing, but this run, in essence, made so much more sense. Because in ultra, we have a phrase. If you feel crap, wait half an hour, then you'll feel good. If you feel good, wait half an hour, then you'll feel crap. You've got to train when you feel crap. So this 40K run today is going to serve me super well. Whatever you're doing, running, anything else, whether you're in the flow or in the grind, remember both are just as important to train so you can race great. Get out there, Ned.
Very nice.
Thank you.
The chi, the energy flow.
It was just, honestly, last week, man, like, it felt zero effort, like not zero, but at around 40K, I was flowing. Today, it wasn't, like I enjoyed it, I always loved my run. But like, seriously, and you'll notice a little M&M, legs were heavy, palms were sweaty, but the legs were heavy. But I just told myself, okay, don't think about the heavy legs. Just do my thing, and just keep doing my thing. Put some tunes in, did my thing, listen to a podcast, and before I knew it, 40K were done. And yeah, that's better training. It's great.
You're training for, I let me guess, a backyard race.
Yeah, not Mali. I'm not. I think I'm not. I can't. So I don't think I can do 3 a year. 2. So. The idea is Belgium and then SatChamps.
Okay. Oh, wow. Belgium is in end of March?
End of April.
End of April. Okay. Yeah. Wow. That's exciting. Yeah. Oh, wow. That's very cool. Yeah.
You
All right,
talked
everyone.
about doing you talked about doing one.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid this topic. Let's finish this episode. No, I mean, yeah, I do talk about it. Yes, I do I do my training runs here and there. I want to do one for
Another
sure.
topic,
Yeah,
another topic for
yeah,
another time.
we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. It's in me. I know I can do it. I just need to
Of course.
put this in the right time, right place.
Go. You wrap it up.
Well, thank you, Ned, for running this episode today. That was great. Thank you for putting all this together, and thank you for everyone out there listening to us having a wild episode again, taking it to various places in our minds and hearts. But we appreciate your quality time, attention for sure, and we are looking forward to a conversation next week with another guest.
Absolutely. Marcus, that was awesome. Thanks, sir. Everybody, thanks for
Thanks,
listening.
Ned. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Thank you.